Hey reseller friends, welcome to the latest edition of Seller's Corner, your go-to source for all things reselling. I'm Erin, product specialist at Vendoo, and today I'm going to talk about how to sell clothing online. But before I do, let me invite you to subscribe to our channel. We publish content every week, and it's all about Vendoo product tips, community updates, and information about how to start, scale, and grow your resale business. If you're considering selling clothing online, whether it's clothing you have around your house that you no longer wear, or you want to become a reseller and purchase things for a profit to flip, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get started and what is entailed in this online e-commerce resale platform. First, you'll want to decide where you're going to sell. If you've never sold or you're super new, I highly recommend Poshmark for clothing. On Poshmark, you can sell men's, women's, and children's clothing, fashion, and accessories, plus a few other categories like beauty, select pet items, select home decor, and select electronics. Poshmark has a huge audience. It also has incredible SEO ranking on Google. If you Google red striped dress, I guarantee that close to the top of the search results will be a Poshmark listing. Poshmark has such a user-friendly interface. It is not complicated, it's very simple to use, and their shipping process is by far the easiest in comparison with all of the other resale marketplaces. So it's a great place to start. I will say though that there are so many other places you can sell clothing too. eBay, Mercari, Grailed for the men, Tradesy for the women, Kitizen, Depop, Etsy for vintage. I could go on and on. So once you're more comfortable, you'll have a long list of different platforms with different audiences and different niches that you can explore. Step one is to photograph your items. Well, I guess step one would actually be to prepare them for photography because you'll want to make sure they're clean, wrinkle-free, and looking their best for picture day. Photographing your items is actually harder than you might expect. It's tough to get a good picture of a garment of clothing, but looks matter. Looks are so important. I highly recommend a well-lit setting, whether you're using artificial lighting or the sun. Lighting is the key to good photos, and basic adjustments in the editing stage to exposure, contrast, and brightness can really help too. Take your time when you're photographing. Make sure you get every angle of the item. The front, back, inside, outside, all tags, brand and material, any features, and of course, any flaws. Having well-lit photographs that clearly portray your item is the best way to make sales and to protect yourself in the event of a buyer dispute. Number two is listing descriptions, and this is probably the toughest part because listing descriptions and titles are super important. The way that you title and describe your listings, the words you use in those fields, directly impact how many eyes end up on your item. Most sales do not happen by newsfeed scrolling or by luck. They happen because the interested buyer performed a search, your item yielded, thus they clicked on it and made the sale. So your listings are so important. Really take your time to provide a title and description that has all of the detail that you need to maximize searchability. I'll link below an article that will help you with SEO, search engine optimization, in the reseller context. Another thing that's super important is any of the fields or drop downs that appear on the listing form. As a habit, even treat those that are optional as if they're required, because if it's being asked of you, it has an impact on the way that buyers search. When it comes to listings, the more detail, the better. A great tip I have is to describe your items as if they're not accompanied by photographs. So when you read your description, and you should be able to close your eyes and picture vividly that item because you've described it so well. That goes the other way too. Photograph your items as if you don't have words to accompany them. With those two tips and a little time and love, you'll have amazing listing descriptions in no time. The next step is deciding a price for your items. And this can be a little tricky too if you've never done it. What most resellers do is they take a look at comps. Comps are comparable. What that means is they perform a search. So if you're selling on Poshmark, you might go to the Poshmark search and you might type in the item you're selling, Madewell red striped dress, and see if you can find your item or even similar items, Madewell maxi dresses with stripes in other colors, for example, and get an idea or a range of what other people are asking for it. That's the safest way. Once you get more comfortable and your photos are enhanced and your descriptions are enhanced, you might decide that comps don't matter as much. And of course, you want to be sure you're yielding a profit. So you have to be careful with that as well. But as a reference point of where to start when you have no idea, take a look at comparable items, both those actively listed and maybe even those sold, to see what the items actually sold for. That will help you to get started. The next step is what I'll call listing management. Almost no platform is a leave it and list it platform. That means you can't just list it and then never open the app for days. They all require some love and maintenance on your part. And all of that love and maintenance is in different forms. For example, on Poshmark, there is a sharing requirement, which you'll learn all about on Poshmark. But all platforms have different requirements, some more than others. But at the very least, maintaining daily activity, responding to questions, offers, making offers, these are all things that you'll need to do to make sales. If you want to know exactly what's required to actually make money on any of the resale platforms, explore Vendoo's blog. We create content about all of them that will help you to skip the learning curve and see what you actually have to do to effectively and quickly make all the monies. Next is shipping. Again, be sure you're active so you know when you make sales, and have packaging material ready to ship. The type of packaging materials that you can use depend on where you're selling, so you should have a good idea of what is required. But of course, you've already done a little research on your marketplace, so you're well prepared. I highly recommend that you skip the wasteful resources like ribbons and tissues and all of that craziness, and you opt to package just in something simple, recyclable, that will protect your items from the elements. And that's it. That's really all there is to it. Each of those steps can become a little more in depth with experience, and they all vary on different platforms, but those are the basics, and that's all that you need to know to get started. Then you'll just source more, get more things, and repeat. Again, to learn about any reselling resources, check out our blog and our YouTube here. We publish tons of content specific to platforms and reselling in general. If you have any questions, please share them below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time, reseller friends. Happy selling!